I'm Tanya Bracey, and I am a figurative painter. So a figurative artist is mainly a person who paints mostly human beings. I do paint a number of other things, but mainly people, and mainly African Americans. Well, I can say that it was very early on. My father, he actually was an air traffic controller. But he had dreams of being an architect and going to school for that. And he had to give that up because, he had to take care of his family. So he would, when he got home, do scribbles with me. We had all kinds of subscriptions, Jack and Jill books. And one day he drew a little snowman and a Santa Claus on a paper for me. And I was like, oh my God, I was amazed. Wow, this is so beautiful. I said, how did you do that? And he was like, it's easy. And I had to have been 5 or 6. But I remember that moment because, it was something about when my dad told me something was easy or something that I could do, I knew hands down I could. And that was cemented in my mind. That art is easy. It's something that can be done by me. So my family did embrace it, but in parts because I came from a working middle-class family. So to understand that in context that, working middle-class families, they supported your love of art. Okay, so I had shrinky dinks, coloring books. I had all of that in my room, but along the line, the idea was that you do need to get a job that pays money consistently. Because I believe that from this particular working class family, there was a limited understanding and exposure to the types of art that was available. So they did not see it as something that you could actually live off of. And as I said, my father had to give up that dream. He believed that in order to make a living, he had to not do that. So I think that in itself made it clear that, art is something that is important to you. We nurture it, but it is your hobby. It is the thing that you like. I can definitely speak to the fact that I think that it is a limited understanding of what the arts has expanded and can become in reference to work and income and vocation. First, it has to do with exposure. Okay, I can say from my working class family, Huntington Park, Philadelphia, there was very little exposure to that. But as I got older, I began to see that there were so many other departments and areas and caveats that were connected to the arts, just one being here with Miss Sheila and seeing the idea of understanding art curation, understanding the value behind it, understanding second market. These are all information that would have been foreign at the age that I was at and at the time that my parents were much younger, But I think that as the time has gone on, it has become something that is seen as a respectable market for African Americans first, as well as something as well as a circle that we belong in. I honestly believe that some of the circles that have been in the art world, we didn't see ourselves in. We didn't see ourselves as being a part of or ever being a part of. And I think that's why representation, I hate to say it, but it's true. Representation does matter. I know it does for me. Let me see one black person. Then I'm like, I absolutely belong there. That's all I need to know. let me meet somebody. I'm like, oh, you do that? But then guess what? I also can do that. Actually, when well into my 30s, married with children, I think I was working at like the state hospital. And I met this wonderful physical therapist, Black woman. I didn't even know there were Black physical therapists. I'm just gonna put it out there. And her name was Deborah Better. Now, Deborah had an interest in dance, in singing, music, and I didn't know art as well. And I was down there with my patients. I think I did art. I think I did OTA. I was an OTA at the time. And I was drawing. That was just one of the things that I did. And she was like, that's fantastic. I would like for you to come with me and join my art group. I didn't even know that there were groups of people that got together and shared art and displayed art. Like that was just something that people did, I thought it was other people did that kind of thing. So when she involved me in that world, it began to solidify something different within me, and I began to see my work as being valuable. I did a show, my first exhibition with them, and it was a gorgeous piece I had, but I had never framed anything. It was just like a piece of paper. I had it in a folder. And I met a framer, and he said, give me your piece. I'm gonna take care of it. I had no clue what that meant. But when I went, and I think the show was down in Dover, he had matted it and framed it. And I mean, it felt like he elevated it to an oil painting. And I saw myself differently after that.
So let's segue right into this beautiful piece right here. You could actually look at it. You're wide enough to actually look at it. Tell people what they're looking at.
This is called Mansa Musa, Sleep and Awake. And it's an acrylic on canvas painting. I did this as part of a series, the Mansa Musa series. And of course, he was one of the richest Africans, the richest African there was in history. And I started reading up on him. And when I was reading up on him, the little that I knew about his family that I could research, it had to do with 2 sons that he had. Okay, and they didn't expand on much more information about the rest of the family he had. So I think that as an artist, when something sparks something on the inside of you, that's where imagination occurs. That's when you begin to wonder. And I started to wonder about, well, did he have other children? Because I know historically, people don't talk about the women in history books. So I started thinking about, he probably had a lot of wives, he probably had a lot of children, they were probably richly adorned. So I developed this whole world around these children, these half-children, these cousins that were in his life, but in their own private world. And Sleep and Awake is two, it's a child and a mother in a garden, and it's their garden. It's not anybody else's. It belongs to the family. And they are just leisurely enjoying their time there. And that's what I would think. If you were the richest person in the world and you had family to share it with, these people would live a type of lifestyle and have a type of comfort that I would see here. Well, first of all, I will say that growing up, I did love museums and classical painting. It was just beautiful to me. But I never saw African Americans in the classical paintings. That was something that I never saw us in those spaces. So that was an intentional piece for me, that I felt like I wanted to make sure that we were in these type of spaces, that we were in these type of styles. And then secondly, the other thing that I think is really important is that we do have a historical context and culture where we are depicted in very specific type of ways for all kinds of reasons, a lot of them negative. but all kinds of reasons. I myself, as a mother of three adult males and a husband, I wanted them to understand the concept of dignity, and how you look and who you are, and have that poise. So whenever someone sees my work, that's usually one of the first things I think that people notice, is that I'm always very intentional about showing men and women in dignity and in a gracefulness, because I want people to understand that that is who we are, but you must internalize that to become it.
I love that. I might go off the cuff and be a little creative. If you could have a conversation with mother, where would the conversation with mother start?
Oh, I think one is I would want to be there, like with her. Like my whole conversation would be like, how's weather, how are things going? It would be kind of relaxed. I think that oftentimes, sometimes we want paintings to say powerful things. Sometimes paintings just say quiet nothingness. And in a life full of hustle and bustle, there needs to be times where just quaint chitter chatter is allowed, where you're just involved in the relationship with the person, and I would want to, as a mother, just relax in the relationship, that the baby's all right. Let's just enjoy this wonderful afternoon. We don't have to think about anything serious that is going on. It is just a time of rest. And we're allowed that. We have to give ourselves permission.
I need to talk about Give me a time of rest.
We do need it. You're right.
I gotta rest when the world is dead. Nobody wants to pick up the phone. All right. What is the dream for yourself going forward with your art, and like a show that you could imagine for yourself? Like, what does that look like for you?
Well, what I do imagine for myself is that I would just first continue on with developing my craft and painting in spaces that I would like to say is foreign to me. Like sometimes we want to be, I want to stay in Delaware, Bay, or in Philadelphia. No, I want to go far. Like I want to go to Morocco. I want to be able to display my work in Japan. Like I want to go across the pond. You know what I mean? And, that's not a goal, but I want that as being part of my life journey. You know what I mean? So that people can experience it and I can experience other people. I've been learning just through the different things that I've been doing that the more diversity that I run into, the more first I understand that people at a very core level are so similar. You know what I mean? We all really kind of want to belong. You know what I mean? And then the other thing is that I get to learn so many different things about other people that I get more fascinated by the human condition. The more I get a chance to chat with people. It becomes part of my story. And it fuels more of the work that I do. I think that people should appreciate the fact that this is a discipline, okay? This is something that I commit to do. I've heard it often. If I had the time. Well, in the beginning, I didn't have the time either. But I had to make the time for it because it was important. It became a priority. So I think people can appreciate that. My 24 hours. I decide intentionally to hone my craft. I paint daily. I paint every single day. And I have people ask me, paint I paint every day. I paint every day. You know what I mean? And you do that so that I can say that I'm showing up and this is important to me, you know? I think one of the things that people might underestimate is how much it takes to show up and then present. There's so many different avenues and places to be involved in. People think it's magic. We'll just be honest. They just kind of think, yeah, oh my God, it's wonderful, it's beautiful. They don't know that, I had to go take that to the framer, or I had to go pick these up, or I had to put this together myself. They don't understand that these are all very time-consuming activities, along with being wherever I'm supposed to be, and along with being present with other people, being present emotionally. So that in itself, I think, people don't understand that takes a lot of energy too. Well, let me say this. I think it's important to be in as many circles as you can. You know what I mean? Like, don't discount it. Regardless of if you believe you're supposed to be in that circle, get into as many circles as possible. You know how it is when you're in freshman college days. You're undecided. Why are you undecided? Because you don't know what circle you belong in. You might belong in several circles, but you have to try them all out. Get out there, go scared. I think that's super important. Go scared, go uncomfortable, go feeling like you're not really sure if you belong here, to find out, what actually is good for you. But I'm out here showing my work in as many galleries as possible and as many art shows as possible, as I can, and I can't do it, I want to say this too, I can't do it alone. I think people need to understand that too. You're never a one-man band, There are other people that are surrounding and supporting you. So your support network is invaluable, But you can find me in all these different places. Florida, Philadelphia, Delaware, Baltimore. I've been gracious enough to be able to be involved with the art aunties from Black Art Today, who I love to death, And then, of course, I have just met Dr. Sheila, who was given all of this information about art consultant and second market, things that I may not have understood. I have a mentor, Larry Poncho Brown, who is like instructing me on the understanding of the business aspect. There is a painting aspect, there is a business aspect that you need to be able to get down. But you can still find me in the avenue of a website, Tanya Bracey Art, as well as you can see me on Facebook and Instagram, Tanya Bracey.
Spell it for the purple.
TanyABracey.
Toodles.
Thank you.
And I didn't get one neck roll. I'm messing with you. You gonna buy some art. That's what you gonna do.